I'm about to drop into my second ride for today. So I rode microclimate, which I'd never ridden before, and then pedaled back up the fire road. There's a lot of mosquitoes up here. I'm going to get going to ride Dark Crystal, which I have ridden before twice actually. It's been a couple years though, and the first time I rode this trail was actually the very first time I ever visited Whistler with my buddy Sean. And we probably shouldn't have ridden this trail. It was very wet, and they advise highly against riding this trail in the wet, but I didn't know any better. And the last time I rode this trail was 2 years ago, I think, and so there's a decent amount of rock work on this trail if I remember right. There's also some just more rooty parts down lower. That line's pretty cool. Oh, there's two lines there. So it looks like you can actually come this way too. I got here and lost the trail because I saw a bunch of rocks there, but that's cool. So there's this line, which is probably the harder line. It was pretty cool though. This line looks much smaller. Good start. I don't remember this trail much. I do remember it just being one of my favorites though. A lot of cool stuff on it, and it's pretty long because it's a big climb to get up here. It's all the way at the very top of the lift access or fire road. So it's a bit of a climb. I don't remember the features much, so there may be some stuff I stop and look at. I do love these trails over here on this side of the valley, Blackcomb Mountain, and also just some of the stuff I rode over on the other side of Green Lake. Just they're way less traveled than the trails in the bike park, and so they just stay in a lot better condition overall. I do remember this trail starting with a lot of rock, which is pretty cool. Let's see, we'll go inside line, I think, because that turn's not very sharp, so kind of straighten that out and make it easier to roll down that rock. Oh, I definitely remember some of these little rooty bits from the very, very first time I rode this trail. They were so treacherous. It was like, the rock wasn't too bad actually. This rock is not the grippiest, but not bad. And since it's kind of exposed, it would dry out quick, but then we'd get into those rooty bits, and man, they were just scary. Kind of a cool little thing right down the middle of this. This trail is nice and dry today. Perfect condition to be riding. Air is cool. Couldn't ask for better conditions for this trail. Let's see. Looks pretty straightforward. A little kind of a drop at the end here. I don't know, it rolls, the whole thing rolls. So far, that first line I dropped in on, I actually don't think I've ever done that. I forgot there was the alt line on the left. That was by far the spiciest line so far today. I remember somewhere up here there being a big, really spicy slab. In fact, it might be right here. Yeah, I have not ridden it. Super steep. I don't even know if I'll be able to get the camera to see it, but like, it looks very straightforward. It's just steep. I really don't think it looks that bad. I just remember we looked at it last time and it looked scary because it's so steep. But it's just definitely one of those where the landing is, or the run out, I'm sure it's hard for the camera to see it, maybe if I bend forward, but it starts right here, very straight. The run out looks pretty nice. Let's see. Do I want to give this one a try right now? You can roll into it pretty slow and then just kind of have to let go of the brakes and go. Definitely steep. I wonder if this is steeper than the Green Monster. I don't know. It really does not look too bad. There's no weird bumps that'll catch me out on the way down. I'll just go straight down the middle of it. The other line actually might be harder just because you have to kind of turn when you're going down that rock. Yeah, I think we'll do this one actually. I really don't think it's so straightforward. It's just straight. See if I can get a good line into it from right here. I want to make sure I'm feeling confident and just lined up before I roll down it, just because it's steep. All right, here we go. Definitely steep, but man, really easy. Nice. Happy I checked that off the list. Now when I ride this with Dallin and that group, I can tow them in if they're not comfortable with it. But yeah, it's pretty simple. I remember that one really scared me back in the day, so that makes me feel pretty good. My skills have progressed somewhat, but I mean, having said that, as far as steep slabs, that one is very, it's just straight. It looks very steep, so it kind of gives you the butterflies, but it's straight, run out smooth, nothing to it. I remember there's a lot of this lower trail is kind of like microclimate, where it's just more of this kind of rooty, techy type of stuff rather than those slabs. But I'm grateful those slabs are at the top. They're pretty cool. I love to have that sunlight just kind of filtering through the trees. I think I mentioned, but just like microclimate, this trail is up on Blackcomb Mountain, which is the mountain kind of across from the main Whistler Mountain where all the lift serve biking is. So this side has a few biking trails, but nothing is lift served. If you want to ride these, you have to climb to them. Bit of an uphill here. Ooh. I'm in my eco gear, so I'm just standing and pedaling. Ooh. Definitely still possible to get a workout on the e-bike. Kind of crazy how distinct the edges of the trail are. I'm surprised the growth doesn't come back in and kind of regrow into it. A little bit of a slab here. More of a rock roll, I guess, not really a slab. This rock is covered in dirt, but still got some traction. Now this part's actually pretty techy. I'll bet you anything. The first time I rode this, I walked this. I remember when I rode Bring On the Weekend, going in this part of the forest like this. It looks so dark to me through my eyes, but the GoPro seems to do a pretty good job adjusting, so it feels dark in here, but it'll probably look fine to you guys. Ooh, kind of a weird little rooty section. Maybe if I go right here. Yeah, that was a pretty good line, actually. Avoided that big root ball. Long enough that I'm getting a little fatigued from all this techie downhill. Maybe I'll stop right here and let my legs rest. Oh, give you a little view of this forest. It's so quiet out here. Maybe I should be enjoying the quiet more. I have my what are they called? My earphones on, but they're the ones that are the, oh, what are they called? They don't go in your ear. Bone conductor. I'm trying to remember the brand name, but they fit pretty good under my helmet. If I wear them too long with my helmet, they'll start to kind of give me a little bit of a ache on my head. I like having some music just kind of playing while I'm riding. Only if I'm alone. If I'm riding with people, I usually prefer talking. Little slab here, I guess. Rock roll. I don't know if there's a technical difference between a rock roll and a slab. I always thought of a rock roll is a smaller thing, and a slab is a big, long section of rock, but potatoes, I guess. Though I don't know a single soul who says potatoes. Maybe it's more like comparing route to root, but then personally I think of roots as these things I'm running over right now. It's always interesting to come back up here and see little signs of the difference in, I guess, what you could call Canadian English versus American English. They just have a couple words they say differently, like they say progress rather than progress. They do say a decent amount, or hey. They say carburetor That's always a funny one. We say garbage disposal. I like carburetor better. I think it's a funny name and good and descriptive. Something steep right here. Kind of a rock-ish. Caught my pedal on that one. Oops. Threw me off balance a little bit there. Luckily this dirt's pretty soft and forgiving. If I were to fall, knowing my luck though, I'd land on some rocks or something dumb, you know. Oh man, this trail is such a good time. I might need to take a break again. Maybe I'll do that real quick. Just a little tired. So yeah, it's good to bring back the memory of what's on this trail. Seems like most of the rock work is up at the top, a lot less down lower and just techie and rooty, which that would make sense since that's how microclimate was. So I would say this one definitely a favorite over microclimate. Microclimate I think is still worth riding, especially if you have an e-bike. It's relatively easy to get up to on a normal bike. All of these trails on this mountain suck a little bit for accessing just because all the climbs are pretty steep, not very fun. That is very indicative of Whistler climbing though. That's just how it is around here. They just never really built that many climbing trails, and so everyone who rides the valley trails here is always just pedal the steep fire roads to get to them. That's just how it is. So the bench cut trail that they put in to get up here is slightly nicer, but still it's just steep. Definitely not like a nice little relaxing climb, that's for sure. A lot of these turns have just awkward little lines with rocks in weird places, roots in weird places, and so I just feel like I go so slow trying to navigate through all the weird little obstacles. You can hear a river, assuming that means you probably can in audio as well. Hopefully we get to see it, that'd be cool. Bonked my crank arm there on that rock on the left. Oh, I think you can see it. It's kind of far down there. That's cool. Maybe you can see the little waterfall over there if I bend forward. Oh wow. Just straight down through these rocks. So cool. Yeah, this forest is just something else. Such a pretty place. I would even say this trail is kind of even more awkward and techie and rooty than microclimate was. It's just got a bunch of weird little bits to it. nice when it opens up like this for a second. Let go of my brakes and actually kind of carry some speed for a minute. I know sometimes they race EWS on some of these trails. I wonder if they've ever done it on Dark Crystal. Tends to really tear up the trails because they just ride them so hard. And I could see this being a trail they did that on, maybe not. EWS, by the way, is Enduro Worlds Series. So Enduro, for those who don't know what that means, is basically the closest thing to just straight up downhill mountain biking, except you have to pedal to the top of each stage. They'll usually organize an entire race. There's 2 lines here. Better check the map. Make sure I don't go the wrong way. Looks like there's only one way, so I don't know where. We'll just go left. Anyway, yeah, so Enduro World Series is, they've built bikes, and this e-bike I guess you could consider to be an enduro-ish bike. It's the same geometry and same travel numbers as an enduro bike would be, but you want your bike to be just big and just burly enough where you can still climb with it, still comfortable to climb, because they'll make them do big climb days in between each stage, and then they'll organize stages like 4, 5, 6, I don't know what the normal number is, but a few different stages on different trails that are downhill that they race down. But then part of the whole event is that the riders have to get themselves to each stage by pedaling up either a trail or a fire road. Once in a very rare while they'll include a lift as part of it, but they still almost always have to pedal some of it. So that's what enduro means. But anyway, I'm rambling. That is Dark Crystal. In my opinion, I mean, I haven't ridden the double blacks on this mountain. I've heard they're a little scary, but in my opinion, that's the best trail on the mountain. And I can officially say now that I've checked off every feature on that trail. I'm sure I never did that right rock roll at the beginning. That was a lot spicier than I expected. And then that really, really steep one, which will probably look not steep on camera, of course, but first time I've ridden it, so happy about that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video.